I wanted to make a brief video here, Erev Rosh Hashanah. Hopefully a number of you will be able to see it. To go over some of the rules regarding the shofar, because it is a Torah commandment. The Torah commands us that the day of Rosh Hashanah is Yom Teruah Mikra Kodesh. We say that a few different times, but specifically we say it in Bamidbar 29:1. We also say it in the book of Vayikra in Parshas Acharemos, in chapter 16. And it mentions it a few times that it is a day for which something is sounded, the shofar is sounded. And the way we memorialize that is we say the blessing of Lishmoa Kol Shofar. Okay, so that blessing means we have to listen to the sound of the shofar. So that is the blessing, and that seems to be consistent for Ashkenazim and Sephardim. The difference is that Shechianu is recited by Ashkenazim on both days of Rosh Hashanah, while Sephardim only recited on the first day in which the shofar is blown, which we won't get into too many details on that, but it changes if the first day of Rosh Hashanah is Shabbos. So you would say Shechianu the second day when you actually blow it. The Ashkenazi minhag is to stand for the shofar blowing, and it is blown at the time period of the end of the Torah service. That's because you want to make sure you get through all the regular mitzvos first, and then this is the next one that would come in line. So you would do Shema, Shemona Esrei, Kriyas Torah, and then the shofar is the mitzvah of the day. And so when you get through those, you get to the other ones. So at that time, we blow 30 different sounds. Okay, so the first set are three of what is known as Tashrat. That's Tekiah, Shvarim, Teruah, Tekiah. Okay, so it's three sets of that. So the Tekiah is the long, solid blast. The Shvarim are the three short blasts. And the Teruah is the staccato blast. And if you want to hear more about the use of staccato as a sound of crying, you can look up my discussion of Unasana Tokef if you want to Google that. If you look up my name, Unasana Tokef, and you'll find it on Academia. And the next set is a set of three of what's known as Tashat, which is Tekiah, Shvarim, Teruah. And then we finish with Tarat, which is Tekiah, Teruah, Tekiah. Okay, and so we stand for that set. So, however, Sephardic congregations have the custom to sit for those, and sometimes the other part of it. But the Ashkenazi minhag is to stand all the time, because Ashkenazim love to stand for a lot of mitzvahs. Okay, so the next set that's blown during Musaf are known as the standing shofar sounds. Okay, because one is required to stand for the repetition of the Musaf, and therefore one should be required to stand for these tekiyos as well. However, it's not required, it's just that what should be done at the time period. And if you can't hear the congregation, you should hear it yourself because it is a mitzvah. Okay? Okay, so some people say that it's necessary to also listen to the full repetition of the Musaf, along with hearing the shofar blasts at the three different points, which is at the end of Malchios, Zichronos, and Shofaros, the accepting God's kingship, that the sound of the shofar makes Hashem remember us for mercy, and that there's a requirement to hear the shofar on Rosh Hashanah. Okay, so there's another minhag that people don't leave the shofar out. Okay, and also one should not talk at all between the shofar blows. One should make the bracha. You should only say the proper prayers, because the prayers are considered part of the mitzvah itself. If you're not sure if you have fulfilled, or if you should hear more shofar blasts because you're not sure if the ones that you heard were good, you should go hear it again without a bracha. So it's also ideally people should try to blow it from the right side of the mouth, so they try to get somebody who does the tekiyos from that side. However, women are actually exempt from this mitzvah because it is a time-bound positive commandment. Mitzvahs aseh shazman garma. However, most women nowadays do fulfill this obligation. So according to Ashkenazi practice, she may say the bracha herself, or the one blowing the shofar may recite it on her behalf. However, for Sephardim, neither she nor the person saying or blowing the shofar may say the bracha on her behalf. Someone who has not fulfilled the obligation would have to say it. Okay, and we also say it's good to bring children who should be able to fulfill the mitzvah to come and fulfill it. You should ask permission before blowing the shofar to somebody else. But if you did take a shofar without asking and instead of blowing the shofar, that's okay. Especially if you're sick, or if they're one of the people who they don't like it when you touch their stuff, or you don't like it when you put your mouth in their stuff. So those are all things that are important. One other interesting thing I'm going to point out over here is the custom to say Simanim, things of bringing good omens for this year, and with something to do on both nights. And so things that are included are things like pomegranates, beets, gourds, black-eyed peas, fish heads, and also apples and honey. And so all these things, we say different things for them because they remind us of good things that happened. In the Siddur, you will find little prayers to recite with them. It's a good idea to recall good things this time of the year. For example, the pomegranate is that we should be filled with mitzvahs like the pomegranate is filled with seeds. And that we should also say that for this head, we should be the head this year and not be the tail. And all those other things that are required for it as well. And also the apples and honey is to have a sweet new year. So the main thing is to actually start the Simanim after you have started the meal. And you often need to say the bracha of ha'etz on things like the dates and other fruits as well. And specifically you should start with dates because they are the 7 species and they're one of the higher ones in there. So therefore you should do that in there as well. However, if you make a soup out of the other vegetables you're eating, like the leek and the gourds and those things, you don't have to make a ha'adamah on them because they're included as part of the meal. So I want to wish everyone a Chag Sameach, a Shana Tova U'Mesuka U'Mevorachas, and that we all have a blessed, sweet, and prosperous New Year.